Hello everybody, outside, at home. I hope you are well, you are healthy, and a warm welcome here at the Galerie Bene Taschen. My name is Ecki Heuser. I'm your host for tonight, and of course together with this man, the Bene Taschen, the gallerist. Hi Bene, how are you?
Hello, thank you, I'm doing well.
We see here on the walls of your gallery the Gold series. It's a very famous photo series of the famous Brazilian photographer Salgado. So the gallery, is it already reopened or is it still closed?
Yes, no, we actually opened the gallery this week to the public again, but only under certain kind of circumstances. So we are kind of limited about the people who let we in.
Yeah.
The gallery, just a few people at the same time. Yeah.
The gallery was founded in 2011 and is here in this building since 2017. And we are very glad that we have the chance in some minutes to talk to Sebastiao Salgado himself, to the artist. He will really live for us and talk about his projects. And at the end of this show, you will also have the chance to ask him questions. So Sebastiao Salgado is not just an artist or photographer. Why is it in your portfolio, if I can say so? Why did you choose him to be one of the artists of the gallery?
Because in the gallery we are showing for 8 years now documentary photographers, many from New York, from Los Angeles, and also some from Germany, and Salgado has always one of my big heroes. So this was of course my big aim, to have Salgado in the program.
Yeah. Of course it's a special situation right now for you, for me, for everybody, for you at home, because of the coronavirus, of the pandemic. So we decided, and this is the idea behind this event tonight, to bring this exhibition, what is not possible to see for a lot of people right now, to bring it outside and to talk about Salgado's life, his work. And I would say let's start over there, because there we can see some of his books. All his photo projects were accompanied by a big impressive photo books we can see here, and it starts his career with the Other Americas project.
So Other Americas was his first big photo essay. He photographed it for many years. After this also he photographed workers all over the world, and this was in this workers project, and part of the workers project is also this Kuwait book here, and then he was photographing migrations all over the world in Exodus and also in Africa for over 3 decades. And then in the 2000s he started to photograph Genesis, but this time more landscape and animals and less people.
Yeah, like I said before, we will talk about these big projects, about his work, his life. So perhaps we go a little bit around to bring the photos to the people at home. This impressive series, Gold. What is the fascination for you? Why did you decide to bring this show here to your rooms?
Because some of the gold images I know for almost 20 years now, and when I first saw them I was really impressed, and they really touched me. And when I heard that I have now the chance to exhibit the gold works, I directly said yes. And this is also the first time, or last year in 2019, this was the first time this series ever has been shown in institutions. And then, of course, this year we show this here in the gallery.
Let's give the people the chance to see these pictures. Great pictures. It's pictures of a gold mine in Brazil. We talk later in some minutes with Sebastiao about this project. Here we see another picture.
Yes. And this is all in a gold mine with 50,000 men were working there at this time.
Yeah. Let's go ahead a little bit.
Sure.
And my question, what I'm asking myself is, do you have any favorite picture, this one perhaps? Or what is yours?
So actually there are quite a number which I think are really great, but I think one of the images that really always stick in my mind is this one here.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
And of course everything here is photography, but looks almost like a painting for me, like an ancient painting. But yeah, this photograph is only 35 years old.
Unbelievable.
Yes.
It looked like in the medieval times, but it was made at the beginning of the 80s. We will talk about this in some seconds with Sebastião, but before, I think it's a good idea to bring his work a little bit closer to those of you at home who don't know too much about his work. Sebastião Salgado, he got the Peace Prize in Frankfurt last year in 2019. I saw you just staying behind him, right? In the Paul's Cathedral in Frankfurt. And he made so many famous projects like the migrants, like the workers, like Genesis. And we will be connected in some minutes, and we would like to show you before some pictures of the man who said, photography is my life. Impressive pictures. Yes. And Sebastião Salgado, he was born in 1944 in Minas Gerais in Brazil. And he's now, like I said before, he's now in Paris at his home in quarantine, of course, since weeks. And Paris is his home because he immigrated in '69 because of the military government. And there I can see him. Sebastião, can you hear us?
Absolutely, I can hear you.
Absolutely, that's great. Normally it's, if people talk to each other, it's just a simple question, but in these special times, this question is very important. How is your wife? How are you?
We are nice, fine here, completely isolated after now about 45, 50 days. And very special, because when you present a few pictures of the gallery for the opening of this show, just 2.5 months ago, looking now looks for me old, nice times. That was possible to us to be all together in a space. Now, life is completely different. Things change just in few days and looks as very far away past. It's amazing the way that things happen so fast in the planet.
We talk about this pandemic a little bit later. First of all, I would like to know how the situation is personal for you, because the people who know you know that you love to be outside, to be in the nature, to have your freedom to work. So is it for you right now a very stressful situation, or how you are dealing with it?
No, not really stressful. I'm discovering a new life inside my home with my son that's a Down syndrome and my wife. We are very close. You see, I made long trips in my life, long stories for years. In the last moment that I take the last taxi to go to the last airport to come back to my home, I was coming back to the paradise. My wish was to come back to my family. And now I am with my family. What it is very nice also. And looking from this completely isolated position, because I'm isolated, and looking what happens all these years in my life, what is happening in the planet, and completely changed the way to act, to work. I'm working, I'm doing a lot of selection of pictures. We are preparing a very big book that will become out next year, I hope. And that is this. It's so special for everyone in this planet. It's a new life.
A new life. You was for your whole life not only a photographer. You first of all you started to study economy, then you became a photographer. You was always also environment activist. You was fighting your whole life for the poor people, for the nature. So what do you think? What makes this situation with our society? What makes the coronavirus? What will be the consequence of all that?
Oh boy, many, many consequences. Today, exactly today, we are launching in Brazil one manifest signed by 67 very important personalities in this planet, applying the government of Brazil, all the government, the president of Brazil, the chambers of Brazil, the judiciary system of Brazil to protect the Indian island. The Indian island is invaded now by gold diggers, by guys that exploit the wood, by religious sects, by farmers, because we have no more the filter of authorities, and they are invading Indian territory. There is a big chance that the coronavirus is spread between the Indians. If that happens, will be a kind of genocide. The Indians population in Amazonia have a chance to disappear, at least a big part of them. And we are fighting very hard in order to get a task force that came inside Amazonia that push out all these invaders and in order to protect the Indian. And we are in this fight. We are in a big fight, and I hope that we can have this happen, that the government of Brazil push out the invaders.
We will talk about the indigenous people, about the political situation in your country later, a little bit more deeply. We have the time. You are here for us for 30 minutes or more. We will see. Let's talk a little bit more about the situation also in Europe. What do you think? Will the values change a little bit in this society? Because now there's more silence, more time to think about things, about the own life. What do you think?
I think that we need, in a certain way, to go back to our planet. We are very far away from our planet. We migrate all to the cities. We are urban now. We don't understand more our planet. We live from our planet. We take out of the planet. We destroy the planet, and we don't give nothing back. And I believe the situation that is happening now is a good moment to start to mind in our planet, to protect our planet, to respect our planet. And I believe that's a very important moment. We became a huge consumer, and everything that we consume, we are taking from the planet. And now it's amazing. After close to 45, 50 days, we are not more consumers. All the stores that sell superfluous goods are closed. And the life keeps going. We don't need too many goods that we consume till now. And probably, and I hope, from now we start to mind in a different way, in a different behavior, in a different way of life, to protect more the nature, to protect more the human beings, to have more mind toward the society, the human relation, and to see if you can survive. Because imagine you have a second virus, a third virus that come together with this, is finished the human population. And we must mind on this, and we must take care on this. I believe that's a fabulous opportunity that you are having now.
Hopefully, your words become true one day, that this is really a turning point for society. Let's go into the gold series. And before we do this, we will see, of course, some pictures. This gold mine in Brazil is called Serra Pelada, and it's on the edge of the tropical rain forest, 120 meters deep, 300 meters large, a big hole full of men, no women allowed, 50,000 men, a crazy own world. Everybody searching, digging for gold. Let's see the pictures about Fascination Gold. Great pictures. Sebastiao Salgado, you went there, Sebastiao, for the first time at 1980, but you did not get any permission. You was living in Paris, and the military government had the power, so they prohibited you to go there. But you came back 5 years later. What was the reason that you was fighting for this project to work over there such a long time?
You see, any photographer on the planet went there before me. This mine was discovered in 1908, the first year that we went back to Brazil after many years in exile. And I tried to go, as you said, the military authorities do not give him authorization to go there, and apply again. Finally, they gave me authorization in 1986 to go to do these pictures. But in 1986, when I went not more to do just a few pictures of a fabulous gold mine. I was working in a long-term project about the workers around the world. Not just the workers in this gold mine, but all workers around the world. I worked for 6 years in 35 different countries, photographing workers. And when I came in this month in 1986, I came for long stay. I organized myself to get authorization when they allowed me to come to stay there about 30 days. In reality, I stayed 32 days there. A friend of my father had one concession in this mine, because this mine was exploited by a small concession. It was 2 meters by 3 meters, and guys digging. Why you have 52,000 men working there is because each small concession is employing about 45 people. And this friend of my father allowed me to live with them. I have my hammock under a canvas where every guy live, a long canvas where about 52 guys living together. And I stayed there long, and I work in a completely different way. In 32 days there, was possible to photograph much more than any photographer that came there before, because that was in south of Amazonia, inside the jungle. And the guys flying there to photograph, they came in the morning with a small plane, and they fly out in the afternoon, the end of the afternoon, because have no hotels, no place to sleep, nothing. I organized to be there. I bring a hammock and I make some food. The guys are set. Then it's because of this that I have much larger series that any other photographer did inside this gold mine. But I must tell you, was amazing, really amazing. Probably is one of the most special things that I saw in all my life long was this gold mine.
Bene, impressive what he's saying about the series. What do you think? Should we take him, Sebastião, through the rooms to show him his pictures again?
Sure, we do this. So
you will do this?
I do.
So,
okay.
Sebastião, during we are walking around, perhaps you can tell us a little bit more about the atmosphere. It must be very noisy over there. How were the conditions for the workers?
Was not too noise, I must tell you. We had no machines in this mine, no technology. These guys were just digging, transported mud. When they find the gold, they transported the bags, mixed mud and gold. But the noise was just the rumor, just human noise, just noise of instruments hitting the ground, and was very interesting. No pollution noise, no machines working, only human behavior. A lot of men together, of course, made a lot of rumor. But when you came in the edge of this mine, you look inside of the hole, was very special noise. Was very, in the end, was very civilized, very nice noise. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go around more, huh?
Yeah.
So you can see more of your pictures, especially the people at home. Let's go around a little bit with him. So you was one of these workers. You had more or less the same conditions because you have to work, you have to go up, you have to go down. So you was afraid a lot of times that you will lose your life. It's a dangerous thing.
No, it was dangerous. Today looking was dangerous. When I was there, I saw people have an accident. I saw mortal, deadly accident happening. But you see, you are part of a big movement. You are in the end part of this 52,000 men working together, and you are working also. You are integrated to this. You have no space to imagine that you are in danger, that it was just a way of life. You see, for me, the biggest intelligence of the human species is his capacity of adaptation. We adapt ourselves in any kind of situation. I remember I shoot a few stories during the wars. The first day, second day, third day inside a place where the war was happening, I was very afraid. But after 1 week, 10 days, this place was my home also. You adapt yourself, become your way of life. And this mine, for a while, become my way of life.
So you were one of them. There never were problems. The relationship was very well from the first second on, and it needed a little bit time. Let's go around more.
No. I had problems just in the beginning. The guys imagined when I arrived there that I were a spy, that I came in to look then, and they were very, well, not aggressive, but isolate me. And I had a chance that the police arrested me. When the police arrested me, they saw that I were not a spy. And the policeman came to me. I have long hair, mustache, and very clear hair. And the guy thought that I were a foreigner. He asked me a passport. I said, man, I have no passport. He said to me, gringo, I want your passport. I said, I have no passport. And the police arrested me. They take me. And when they take me, the work saw that something was happening, that I were not impossible to be a spy. The police will not arrest one spy of them. And I went to see the official. He told me, your passport. I said, I have no passport because I'm a Brazilian. I show my identity card, and he saw that I were a Brazilian, said, apologize, sir, you can go back to work. When I arrived back there, oh, the guys received me very well. After this problem, I was a complete integrate. I was integrated to this group, and this group became my home and my way of life.
Like you said before, some of the pictures were already part of the workers' book and project. What was the idea behind to make it to a solo exhibition, to a solo projection book? What was the reason for?
No, I was working a much larger term project. You see, in the beginning of the 80s, you are very young, you don't remember, I'm an older man, I'm 76 years old. In the beginning of the 80s, the way to produce in the planet completely changed. We started to introduce the intelligent machines in the line of production, the robots, all the computers appear, all the electronics started to replace humans in the line of production. And I saw that a huge revolution was happening. And I went all over the planet. I conceived a project, and during 6 years, I went to photograph workers. And this mine was part of this concept, of this project that later become a book, that later become a big exhibition. But when I started to work, I have no idea that that will be a book, that will be a show. Was just my life. I have an agreement with magazines. In German, I have an agreement with magazine, Stern magazine. In France, I have an agreement with Paris Match magazine. In the United States, I have an agreement with Life magazine. In 6, 7 different accounts. I have these magazines, and I want to do a story, and they were publishing my story. And when I finished, I put all this together, and I saw that was possible to become a book, to become a big show. Was a big show, and we did this show around the world. But you see, when you photograph, photography is a way, your way of life. You don't go to photograph just because you want to do a book, to do a show. You want to photograph because you are a photographer and you must photograph. I had a concept of a project. I work in this concept. As I work in many different concepts. You showed me a few minutes ago, you showed in the screen a book that I did about Latin America. You see, I'm a Latin American. I was exiled in France. I had a huge wish to go back to my country. Was forbidden for me by the military dictatorship in Brazil. And I started to go to Latin American countries to be closer to my culture, to be close to my country. When my country opened politically, I went back to my country, I went to photograph, and I did a long essay in Latin America. And one day that becomes a book because I have so many pictures. The pictures that you have in the wall, we publish a book, but the book came out last year, 33 years after that I finished to photograph. And one day you see that you have a group of pictures, well, that can become a book, that can become a show. You put them together, that become a show. But when you want to do these pictures, it's just because you want to be there. You want to take pictures, and you go there and you take. Is what happens with these pictures of gold mine. What happens with my collection of pictures that become a book called Workers, and it's like this.
These pictures, it's hard to believe, Bene, that these pictures are from the beginning of the 80s. They are looking for you also more like a journey into the medieval times?
For sure. So, as I talked before, for me, they don't look like 35 years old. It's more like 350 years.
Here we have the book.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it came out last year. Yeah, great book, for sure.
Sebastião, what do you think, especially when we are looking at the conditions of the workers at the beginning of the 80s, what do you think about the conditions of the working class in Brazil today?
Today is very special. We live in Brazil a very hard situation. We have a rightist, extreme rightist president, and they don't take care about the workers, about the working class. They are minded to give satisfaction to the capital, to the owners of the big farmers, to the industries, and the workers. It's not very important for this government. The situation is not very easy. But you see, we have a government. Before this one was the times of the President Lula in Brazil that happened in 2012 for his government. Between 2003 to the end of 2011, this president was in the power and was very nice for the working class. Now is very bad. But you must see the history in longer term. Some presidents, some politicians, some behaviors are good, some behaviors are not, but in longer term that is very important. Brazil is a very young industrial country, very young, urbanized country. When I was a child, 55, 60 years ago, Brazilians were more than 90% rurals. Today we are more than 92% urbans. And that happens just 50, 60 years. When you imagine that the urbanization of Europe happens in 400, 500 years, we were very short-term urbanization. Is what is happening today with India, what happens too with China. And that means when these things happen, we are living a revolution. Brazil is inside a revolution, and will take a few years to stabilize. You have some governments that can be very nice, some can be very bad, but what's important is the long term. And in the long term, I believe that we will become a developed country, that the situation, the way of life will be better for everyone. But for the moment, it's not that is happening. It's very difficult for the working class, for the poor people in Brazil.
Thanks for now, Sebastião. We talk in a few moments a little bit more about your other projects. And you, Bene, you can be proud to be the gallerist of this very impressive, great personality, right?
Yes, I am. Yeah. No, it was always a dream to work with you, and I'm super happy to have the chance to work with you.
Me also, Bene, because I tell you, you are probably the youngest gallerist that represented me. But I apologize to say this in front of you and in front of the people that hear us. You are so pleasant to work. You are so enthusiastic. No, and in reality, I'm 76 years old. You are a young man, but it's you that teach me, and I'm very pleased to work with you.
Thank you.
The opening is only a few weeks ago, 3 months. I was here also, I saw you, I talked to your wife. Where is she, by the way? She's not in the kitchen.
No.
Making the dinner for you later.
We are together here, isolated inside the home, and we are working, editing a lot of pictures, because I just finished to work long-term project in Amazon. I spent 7 years working in Amazonia, going and coming, but basically working in Amazonia. And I finished this shooting, and I have a big chance just when you start the quarantine of the coronavirus virus, we had finished to print big part of the pictures, and now we are editing them, preparing for probably a big show, and it will become a quite a large book.
We will talk about the big next Amazon project a little bit later. First, we would like to go ahead in his life. And the next thing was that, like always, Sebastião Salgado traveled a lot, worked in over 120 countries, and he saw so much misery, poverty, so many crises, so many wars. It's unbelievable. These pictures from Rwanda, this big project about Africa, was a break in the career of Sebastiao Salgado, more or less a turning point in his life. Sebastiao, how did it change you? How did it change your life?
I saw very special things happens in that times. In Rwanda, in Congo, in former Yugoslavia, in Asia, with the boat people being come out of Vietnam. And I work many years with displaced population around the world. And I live very special, very difficult, very hard moments in my life. I choose to be there. You see, I am a refugee. I came out of my country for political reasons. I stayed very many years forbidden to me to go back to my country. And I had a wish to do a story about the people that were in the road, that had abandoned one situation of equilibrium in their life and looking for another. And I went to this in the 80s, in the 90s, to photograph these people in the road. And you see, you've finalized to work sometimes in very hard situation. It's not the more rich people that is abandoning his country to go to another place, abandoning the farmers and go to the cities, are normally the more poor people. And I work with these more poor people during 7 years of my life. And I lived very hard, special moments in my life. Yes, it was very difficult.
Yeah, and that's so easy, of course, to look at these pictures, but so important to do it, to look at it and to photograph what you photographed. Why is it still so important that colleagues of you photographers are going to these areas to transport what happens over there in these crisis areas?
Well, you see, today the refugees, the migrants, reach Europe. Now you see hundreds of thousands of people cross the Mediterranean come inside Europe. You see the people from Iraq, from Syria, come inside Europe. And you have the impression that there's a new story happening on the planet. That's not true. That's exactly the same story. It's happened after a long time. And we have millions, tens of millions, probably hundreds of millions of people that are looking for another way of life, for another equilibrium. And we are living a kind of reorganization of the human family in this planet. And this story that I photographed in the 90s, that we show a few pictures there, was part of this large story of humankind. It's very special. If you go back, we look back, you see one big part of composition States of America is made by German. The south of Brazil, we had hundreds of thousands of Germans that migrated to there, end of 19th century, beginning of the 20th century. That is a old story of the humanity. And this story keep going, keep happening. It's because this that I thought that's so important for the European countries when you have the refugees that come, to receive them, to accept them, to make them adapt, because in few years, tens of years, they will be Germans like the Germans are today. They will be French like the French are today. They will adapt. They will become. They will have kids. They will start to live here, and here will become their home. And in 2, 3 generations, they are completely integrated. Their kids born in Germany, born in France, born in England. They will be Germans. They will be French. They will be British, and that is the way of life. You see, in the United States, in a month, they was about to take a decision what language to speak. It was German, it was English, it was Spanish. And finally, they take a decision to be uh, uh, English spoken. But was be possible to be German spoken by the number of Germans that immigrated to there. That means this story of reorganization, transit of humans is an old story. And this story keep going and keep going in a very, very special way.
This project in Rwanda changed your life in that way that he stopped to photograph because he was getting very sick. So his wife and him, they had the idea to go back to their homeland, to Brazil, to the farm of his parents, which was, a paradise for him as a child. But when they came back, it was not a paradise anymore. And it was again Lelia, his wife, who had the idea, the great idea, to rebuild the area around the farm, the forest. And so they make this reforestation and renaturalization of the tropical rainforest around the farm of Sebastiao's parents' home.
That's true. When I was working in Rwanda, most in
Once upon a
Rwanda,
time, there was a colorless, barren land. Once upon a time, a dream became reality. Where the plants grow, the animals sprout. If we protect the green, the blue water returns. And with it, the yellow macaw, the golden lion tamarin, and the red tanager. The Atlantic rainforest is reborn in all its density and exuberance. Dream with us and help bring life back. Support the Instituto Terra.
Instituto Terra is the name of this project, of your wife and of you. So, what did you feel as you were seeing these pictures?
I feel very well because when I'm born, This is the former father of my parents. When I born there was a paradise, as you said. I grew up in a paradise. And slowly by slowly, we take out the trees, we destroy the forest. Not only the forest of my parents, all the forest in my region was completely taken out to give place to the so-called development. And when we get to this farm, the land, the soil was dead. And Lelia, my wife, had the idea to replant the forest, and we fight hard to raise the funds to plant it. We are not rich. I'm just a photographer, my wife, just a designer. And we arrive, we succeed, and we have funds that we collect all over the planet, and we started to plant this forest. Today is the biggest environmental project in Brazil. And you see, we just had the approval of a big project by the KfW in Germany, your development bank, and the Ministry of Cooperation in Germany gave us approval for this project where we be recuperating source of water in the farmers of my region because we have no more water. To have water, you must replant a slice of forest in order that the trees collect the humidity of the rains and bring back the water, the sources. And we are working with thousands of farmers. We are planting a lot of trees, only native trees. We don't plant trees come from abroad. We collect the seeds, we use so in this small film. Our nursery is a big industry of trees. We have a possibility to produce about 1 million trees of more than 100 different species every year. We produce a lot of trees, and we are working in all our region. And I'm very pleased when I see this because it was so hard to do, to to fix this, to bring people inside this idea, a new idea, the idea of the environment, the idea that it's possible to rebuild the planet. And we must replant the forest not only in my region, Brazil. We must replant there in Germany. We must replant there everywhere. We must become to live in peace with our planet. We must rebuild the ecosystems and be part of it.
What a huge message, Britt. He's quiet because he's so present. You're a gallerist. Sebastião, the good thing was also that you one day started again to photograph and started your next big project. A project what everybody knows. It was called Genesis from 2004 till 2011. So a 7 years long time photo project. Very impressive and accompanied by the famous German director Wim Wenders and by Sebastiao's son. And we are very glad that we can show you at home some pictures of the movie and this new project, Genesis.
Beaucoup de mes amis m'ont dit non, il ne fallait pas que tu ailles dans cette direction. Parce que là, tu prends un grand risque. Tu es connu comme un photographe humain, social, et tu vas partir maintenant dans les champs des photographes, des paysages, des photographes animaliers. Putain, c'est pas grave. Il faut que j'apprenne à photographier ça aussi.
Breathtaking pictures And you, Bene, was getting goosebumps?
Yes, as always, a really incredible project. I saw it in different institutions and of course in this book.
Yeah, this is the book. Perhaps you can show it to the people at home. It was a huge success, I said already. What do you think? Why was it so successful? What was the secret?
I think it's exactly from the aesthetic, it's just beautiful. So it's a beautiful project from Sebastião Salgado. Yeah.
So let's go to him again,
Sure.
to ask himself. Yeah, of course, Sebastião, you made so many successful projects before. You was already famous before this project, but I think this project touched the people much, much more. What do you think, why? Was it because they were touched because it's a dream of the society to have a better, another life?
You see, when I went to do these pictures, I went to see the planet. I have never before made the pictures of the landscape of the other animals. I made only human pictures. And when we started Instituto Terra, I was in a hurry to see the suffering, the violence. And I stopped photography. I said, no more I will take pictures. I will become a farmer and we went there and we take a decision to replant a forest. And we are very happy to see the nature coming back, to see the other animals learning from the nature. And from there came a huge wish to me to go to the planet, to see my planet, to see what was pristine in this planet. And I conceived a project. I had no money to do this by my own. I went to many different magazines around the world and newspapers, and they accepted to finance me, that I give to them the exclusivity to publish my pictures in their account. And I went to see the planet. And I went to learn how to photograph the nature. I went to learn how to be closer to the other animals. You see, in the end, when I finished this, I spent 8 years photographing these pictures that become a book. I discovered that the biggest trip that I did, and I went all over the planet, from the Arctic to the Antarctica, and I discovered that the biggest trip that I did was inside myself, to discover that I am nature, that I am part of the nature, that I am one animal, part of one species between thousands of other species, that every species is as important as the mine. If one species disappears, it's as important if my species disappear. And for me, it was amazing what I saw, what I discovered. In the end, these pictures become this book, Genesis, that was very special. It's interesting. In the film made by Giuliano, my son, and Wim Wenders, you saw a few pictures that I'm telling to Wim, few friends of mine tell me, Sebastian, you are a human photographer. You are taken a big risk. It's a danger for you to go to photograph landscape, to photograph other animals. And I tell to my friends, but I wanted to go. I needed to go. I needed to see my planet from inside. And I went for 8 years, working average 4 stories per year. In average, I spent 2 months in the fields photographing each story. I was about 8 months a year outside photographing. And the result is this book, is this show that called Genesis. But I tell to you, what I did was the biggest gift that a person can receive in his life is to go to see the most beautiful parts of our planet, the most pristine parts of our planet. And we have an amazing planet. We have amazing places in this planet.
Did it help you to process what you have seen before?
Well, help me to situate myself. When I went to do Instituto Terra, I was coming for a very violent experience, very hard experience. I had lost the hope. I I was sure 100% that the human species was going against a wall, that the behavior like we behave will disappear. And with Instituto Terra, with Genesis, I become a very hopeful person. I have a big hope. Not in our species. I have the same position towards my species. But this planet is composed by all other species. If our species disappear, it's not a problem. The planet keep going. We are enduring the planet. We are doing very bad things to the planet. The planet don't care. When you see the story of happening today, the coronavirus, is the way that the planet is getting to control our aggression towards him. Is a way to show that is a microorganism can stop all the humanity. We are billions of people inside the home because this is small virus. Nature is very powerful. Nature will control, not us will control the nature.
Again, impressive words, and it's interesting what he said, that for him it was a totally new kind of sport, a new discipline, another way to photograph than before. And for him it was clear, he said, I have to do, but for the people around it was much more difficult. Interesting.
Yes, and you see, even if it's people or the nature, he's a true hero of photography.
So everybody is asking himself, what's coming next? You was talking already about a new project. You was talking about the rainforest, the tropical rainforest, the Amazon area. What exactly you will publish soon or next?
Well, you see, every story that I did in photography, one story born inside the other. When I did work, for example, I saw that the way to produce in the world was changing, that were transfer in the way to transfer heavy industry to big underdeveloped countries, as my country, Brazil, China, India, Mexico, Indonesia. And this was provoking a huge revolution all over the world. Because the heavy industry came to Brazil, we started to urbanize Brazil. We create a huge flow of migration. And, that happens all over the world. And I went to photograph this. Photographing the migration, I became so sick that I went back to Instituto Terra, to my place to create Instituto Terra. And create Instituto Terra, I went to photograph Genesis. In photographing Genesis, I discovered that one part of the planet is in total danger to disappear, is the rainforest in Amazonia. And I take a decision, when I finish to photograph Genesis, to go to photograph Amazonia. And I am photographing Amazonia after 2013. And I just finished this year to photograph Amazonia. And I spent many times with 12 different tribes in Amazonia. I photograph a lot of the forest. I travel a lot inside this huge river. Last year, I navigated in one river that is not the biggest river of Amazonia. It's a nice river. But I navigated 35 days inside just one river. I hired quite a nice boat, a big boat in Manaus, the capital of the state of Amazonas in Brazil, and went up in a river for 22 days. I thought that we would be arriving the end of this river. We do not reach the end of it. In a month, we have problem of fuel. Was necessary to us to start to come back, and we navigated back and for about 17 days. And 15, 17 days. Coming down was more fast because we have the waters coming down. We came down together. And but I was photographing these rivers. I photograph a lot aerial pictures. The Brazilian army take me with them. And they have a lot of headquarters inside the forest in many different places. And I travel with them from one point to the other, and they gave me opportunity to make a lot of aerial pictures. Amazonia is amazing. The majority of pictures that we know from Amazonia is a flat land with huge rivers in the middle of this green forest. But I saw different things. I saw this, of course, but I saw incredible mountains in Amazonia, much more mountain than the Alps in Europe. Incredible massives of mountains in Amazonia. Incredible places in Amazonia that we have no forest. That is kind of savanna that no one knows these places, amazing places. And I photographed the aerial rivers. We have incredible evaporation in Amazonia. What guaranteed the rains in Germany and the United States in a lot of humidity that comes from this huge rainforest that is Amazonia. It is distributed this humidity all over the planet that come in one thing that we call aerial rivers. And it was possible to me to photograph this aerial river. And I made a collection of pictures. And now this collection of pictures will become a quite large book about a book about Genesis, the size of Genesis. And we are organizing a series of shows that goes all over the world that I want to show Amazonia for humanity, in the hope that we all together can fight to preserve this forest, to preserve these Indian communities. And we depend on it for our survival. Is this my work? I just finished it. Most problem is my last bigger history in photography because I'm 76 years old. Just the end of the editing of the pictures of the presentation, I'll be about 80. And I believe that with 80 years old, will be probably the moment to start to stop to travel. All these trips that I did after that I have 26, 27 years old, that I start photography, and probably is the moment to start to stop this. Amazonas probably is my last project.
Your last one, for sure.
Most probably.
You never know.
See, the photographs never stop. I remember I went to the birthday of Álvares Bravo, one of the biggest photographers that happens in this planet, was a Mexican photographer.
I know.
He made 100 years. And I went, he invited me. I came with Lélia. When I arrived to his home for his 100 years birthday, he said, Sebastian, I want to show you my pictures. I said, my God, Don Manuel, 100 years old, you are photographing yet. And the boy, he was sick. It was necessary to put his feet inside the hot water. And he was there with his camera photographing his feet inside the hot water. That were his pictures. That is amazing. The photographs never stop. But doing a longer-term project probably is my last one.
Probably, not for sure. So what do you think? It will be his last project or not?
I'm not sure. So
If he's not sure, how could you be?
yes, we will see.
But what you can tell us is, he talked about that there will be also a book. So can you tell us, especially the people at home who are curious now after these impressive words, when will it be published?
So the book will come out 2021, also museum exhibition in 2021, and of course other exhibitions too. So we just have to wait a little bit.
Okay, so we talked so much about it. We would like to see, of course, some pictures about the Amazon, this impressive river, 6,400 kilometers long, going through 9 South American countries. and about this region, the tropical rainforest around 5.5 million square kilometers large. Like Sebastião told us already, full of nature, full of animals, a symphony of noise. And now you at home, you have the chance to see some pictures before the book comes out. Impressive. Unbelievable pictures by Sebastião Salgado. And like I told you at the beginning of this evening, of this event, together with the artist, now you at home have the chance to talk directly to him, to ask questions probably better than my questions before. And let's have a look. Who's there? Is there anybody who has a question or not? Can you hear us outside? I hear music.
Some music.
Oh, there's coming one after another.
Okay.
Need some seconds. Technic. Sebastião, technic.
So we have some music, huh?
Yeah. Would be great if we could have the people outside asking questions.
So yeah, we have here some different people. Oh. Hello? Oh. Okay, I think now
we have some
music.
The show was running perfectly till now, but
yes.
Now I think it's more or less impossible to let them ask.
Hello?
So yeah, we have here some different...
Huh? What we have to do? Okay, let's click here. Oh, first time Skype? For Zoom?
We are too old for this, Sebastião.
Okay.
We're all together. I'm hearing music the whole time.
Okay, sorry.
What we have to do?
We have to do, sorry, we need some help. Okay, so what we do now? Click on this, first time Zoom for me. Oh.
No, I think it makes no sense to try it again. Should we try it again?
Excuse me?
Is someone of you hearing us? No. So let's stop it, I guess, here at this moment. The question I have is, this exhibition normally would stop on the 9th of May,
yes.
So in some days. So do you plan to extend
the exhibition?
Yes.
Yes, so we will extend the exhibition to end of July. And if people want to see this exhibition, you're all more than welcome to come here and to take a look at this exhibition.
That's a good message at the end. Oh, he's tired. Okay. You worked at home, Sebastião?
Can you?
Yes.
What do you hear?
Can you hear us? I have the whole time music in
yes,
my ear.
we need some. Okay.
I would say
okay.
that we better stop here, right?
Okay, good.
Okay.
Okay, thank
And
you.
Sebastião?
Sorry for this. Yeah.
Can you hear us again? Sebastião?
Yes, I can hear you.
Great.
Sorry.
Okay. We would like to say thank you. We had some technical problems to hear the other people outside. Sorry for this. But we are very happy that you took so much time for our question, for my question, and that we had the pleasure to show you photos here and to bring the people through your life and your work.
Yes, and here we see some people from Los Angeles, from New York.
Yeah, but we can't hear them.
We can't really hear them, yeah, but good to see you all. No?
So we hear very well your messages, especially about the political situation in your country, your message to protect the indigenous people in the tropical rainforest, and you did a visual petition, you and your friends, and we would like to show the people at home at the end of the show this very impressive words and pictures. Should we do that?
For sure.
Okay, so Sebastião, thanks a lot again.
Thank you.
Have a nice evening in Paris.
Bye, guys.
See you soon.
And now for you at home, good night from Cologne, and have a look at this great petition.
Hello, I'm Sebastião Salgado, a Brazilian photographer, and I want to invite you to join an important group of international personalities in an appeal to the Brazilian government. What has brought these people together is fear that the terrible coronavirus, which is spreading rapidly across Brazil, will have a devastating impact on the indigenous peoples of the Amazon region. Brazil has the largest number of isolated native peoples in the world, and over the past 500 years, they have been victims of successive devastating epidemics because they have no defense against diseases coming from outside the rainforest. The situation today is still more critical because the Brazilian government has relaxed its controls on gold diggers, loggers, and farmers who are invading land reserved for the indigenous tribes. And these fortune hunters may carry the coronavirus. That is why we are urging the President of Brazil and the leaders of its legislative and judicial branches to create a special task force to drive illegal invaders from indigenous territories and to guarantee the health and welfare of the native population. Brazil owes it to these first Brazilians. They need our help. The time to act is now.